Guys, how's it going out there? Rooster here in Tennessee, roostercb.com, and got one sitting in front of us that you don't see every day. Dentron MLA1200 with the high voltage power supply sitting underneath. Now, my friend Tram Doctor did a video here a while back where he was testing out some Dentrons and talking about his Dentron collection. I don't think he had one of these in it. It runs a fairly rare steel tube. 8875 that was made by iMac, obviously no longer in production, which is the unfortunate part about this amp. But that doesn't mean that the amp has to become obsolete just because the tube that it runs is. We'll talk about the amp a little bit here, show the power supply, things of that nature. I will tell you guys that the unfortunate part about this amp is I've had it for several months and just never did test it. It does have a weak tube in it, so go figure. Obsolete tube. Not completely obsolete. You can still get them sometimes, but they're kind of few and far between. Now, it's not like they're $1,000 tube if you can find them, because there's not a lot of amplifiers that use this tube. So when you find them, you can usually get them for a couple $100. There's actually a couple on eBay here a while back. It was a set of two for $250, and I should have bought them. Had I known this thing was going to need a tube in it, I would have. But I was told when I bought it that it was in good shape, did 900 watts PEP, and I'm not able to get that out of it. It's doing about 3 times what you put in it. So 50 in will give you about 150 out. 100 in will give you about 300 out. And I believe when this thing is properly operating, about 80 watts should get you about 1,000 watts PEP out of it. Okay? So I believe, if I'm correct on that, if I'm not, somebody will correct me. But it's supposed to be about 1,000 watt PEP amp. 800, 900, 1,000. Some people have even said 1,200 watts. I don't know so much about that, but I've heard 1,000 watts pretty regularly. It's got a 3-position knob here, which it does switch, but I'm not even going to embarrass myself by trying to turn that thing, because it is extremely, extremely hard to turn. I mean, you have to basically wrench that thing to turn it. So I don't know what the heck is going on with that. It does work. It switches the modes on the meter. It'll go to reading current and then relative RF out. It's reading plate voltage right now, which is probably where it needs to stay. Because I'll tell you guys, this thing is a bastard to turn. So I don't know why it's that way. This one isn't. The standby and operate switch, it turns with ease. But that thing right there, man, it's a booger. But when you turn the amp on initially, the ready light's not going to be on. After it warms up for a certain period, the little ready light kicks on and lets you know the amp's ready to key. It doesn't need a foot pedal as it's set up now. It may have initially needed one when it was made, and someone's put a keying circuit in it, possibly. I don't know enough about the amp to really say for sure, but I can tell you right now, it will key without a foot pedal right now. 2 tuners on it. Again, we tried to tune it out for PEP, and again, it's weak. It's only doing about 3 times what you put into it, so not a lot of gain left in the tube. And when we had this on current earlier, it was drawing current, but it's not showing power, which again is another indication that it probably needs a tube. It does have an input tune on the back that doesn't make any difference really on the output. So someone may have bypassed the input tune or the tuned input and have it as a fixed input. And that may be something that needs a look too. But really just a super nice, clean little amp here. The fan on it's forcing plenty of air. The situation with the tube is unfortunate. However, as you can see on the front, you've got some pretty good plate voltage here, 2,500 volts, which, again, we can key it down and see what it drops to. Hello. Drops to 2250, if you key it down and modulate into it. That gives you some options with different tubes out there. There's a lot of different tetrodes and even some smaller triodes that you can run on that kind of voltage. So if it was me and I was keeping it, what would I do with it? So I would probably drop in like a 4CX400, 4CX250B, something like that. A small tetrode that's capable of almost a kW or so, and run it like that. Obviously it's going to need some modifications if you do that to it. It's not going to be a drop-in replacement. But again, the power supply is a big portion. You know, that's half the battle right there. And then you do a little work to the inside of the amp, and you've got a tube that's readily available, like a 250B, 400, something like that. If I keep it and it doesn't sell, that's what I'd end up doing with it. Also, you got some Russian tube options. The what is it? GI46, GI7, GI6, something like that. I think they take about the same voltage, and those are higher drive tubes. They actually take a little bit of drive. So modifications, you can do that to it. But I'll show you guys what's doing. I'll just put my meter on peak. There's no need to go through the whole shebang since we've already determined it's got weak tubes in it, or a weak tube. Hello, audio, bottom scale, 1,000-watt slug, and it's showing, you know what, 150, 160. Like I said, no secrets to hide with it here. Definitely a weak tube. Audio, 1, 2, 3, audio. It's showing about 160 PV. And that's with us putting 50 into it. So it's for sale. Whether you have a source on that tube, 8875, if you do, that's great. You know, put one in it and run it. If you don't, you still have options to change it to a different tube, which if it was mine, that's what I'd do. Because every time a tube goes out, you know, whether it's 5 years down the road or what, I don't want to be scrambling like, oh God, where am I going to find the tube for this thing? Just put something in it that can be readily found and do it one time, and you'll be good to go. All right, guys, that's it. Dentron, MLA1200. If you're interested in it, shoot me a text, 423-299-3535. Not particularly interested in shipping this thing. Would prefer local pickup, but we'll make somebody a decent deal on it if you want to come by and get it. If not, I'll keep it, put something else in it, and, you know, what the hell, run it a little bit. All right, guys, everybody have a good day out there. Rooster in Tennessee, roostercb.com. See you, bye.